Over the last few years, the Magnificent Seven have been beating the market. Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla rode the AI wave to dominance. But the same AI that had made these companies the market darling long time back are right now questioning their crown. For a while, global investors used to invest in the Magnificent Seven and beat the market. If they invested in the Mag 7 in 2023, they would have gotten a 76% growth. In 2024, 47%, and again beating the market in 2025. Today, the equal weight S&P 500 is beating the ex-Magnificent 7 indexes. And the Magnificent 7 baskets, only a few companies are outperforming the market. The idea of all these companies growing together is fading. The same AI now that allow these companies to have moats and attract value investors to invest in them is eroding the market advantage and giving equal opportunity to all the other companies to join the race. These companies sat on every critical AI stack level. Nvidia on GPUs, Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet on cloud and data centers, Apple on devices and operating systems, Meta and Alphabet on cloud computing and digital advertisements. Their dominance reached historic levels. By 2025, they were roughly 36% of the S&P 500 and generated about 30% of its profits. An earning of CAGR of about 54% in the 2 years of the ChatGPT coming in. Once generative AI took off, these companies started outperforming the S&P 500 by a huge margin. In 2024 alone, these companies delivered almost 37% of the profit growth versus 7% for the entire index. Nvidia's demand exploded throughout these years as the demand for heavy computing and GPUs that support AI integrated systems in workspace also increased, and therefore it contributed disproportionately to the entire weightage of the S&P 500. One Magnificent 7 ETF has gone down by 5 to 6% this year, whereas an ETF that excludes those 7 stocks have gone up by 3%. There's a 9% gap between the performances. In 2025, only Alphabet and Nvidia actually beat the S&P 500, whereas the other 5 stocks couldn't outperform and whereas underperformed the market. This is the first key shift. Buy all 7 and forget is the ideology that is fading nowadays. Since AI has allowed average stocks to level and go on par with the traditional mega caps, the new ideology is not just riding the AI theme with any of the 7, whereas it is stock specific execution, and that is what determines the performance of the stock in long term for the market. We can fundamentally frame the success of these companies, how they could build their empires throughout the past decade, specifically to 3 modes. Number 1 is economies of scale, the network effect, and the proprietary algorithms plus the data they had present. The first one, talking about the economies of scale. Once giants like Microsoft and Apple acquired one user and set up their system, the cost of acquiring a new user and letting them use their softwares had almost gone down to 0. Whereas for startups, they were facing the issue of justifying the upfront cost of engineering and competing with these mega cap companies. The second one is the network effect. Applications like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube, they became unbeatable because the users were already there, and the more amount of users resulted in more content. More users, more content equals to more users and advertisements, and that helped them grow. And the third mode was proprietary algorithms and recommendations. For example, take YouTube. YouTube allows users to get exactly the content they want on their feeds, and this is only possible through scale. The more content it has, the more versatile content it has, it allows YouTube to understand the user's interests and taste and preferences, and based on those preferences, YouTube suggests that content. Similarly for TikTok, which was a big problem for the smaller companies as they had lesser content on their platforms. Because of these modes, the Magnificent 7 were able to generate outsized cash flows, profits, etc. And that helped them dominate and build their empire in the past decade. AI assisted coding and vibe coding that has developed in the recent past has enabled even non engineers and small teams to affordably build full stack applications in natural language. So, therefore, English has become the new programming language, and the original moat of economies of scale, or the traditional say that हम बड़े companies ही ये products और applications बना सकते हैं, has vanished. किराना का shop, आपकी printer का दुकान, all of these can build their delivery systems and personalized workflow systems without fully depending on the larger companies, only through generative AI tools. On the network effect side, AI assistance is increasingly sitting on top of YouTube, Instagram, and other social media platforms, and well, it's surfacing the best content regardless of where it is located. If users simply ask an AI, find me the best explainer on X, the power of any one platform being the sole gatekeeper of this discovery erodes. The explosion of open source models and pre-trained LLMs have allowed a startup in India or China to access the same data source or database compared to a Silicon Valley giant. So, raw algorithmic benefit or the advantage is slowly shrinking. As AI becomes a commodity, the real advantage shifts to product design, distribution systems, and basically having a bigger model is not an advantage now. The same AI that amplified these modes for the Magnificent Seven is now becoming a leveler, helping the smaller companies to be on par with the Magnificent Seven. The second big effect of AI is on the economics of these big tech players. It has turned them from asset light software machines to capital heavy infrastructure players. Alphabet, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta together combine have an estimate of spending over $650 billion on AI capex alone in the year 2026. Data centers, AI chips, server racks, etc. The breakdown can be seen here, and these are numbers that can be compared to historic high-scaled mega projects. Analysts estimate that these hyperscalers will start spending about 60% of their total operating cash flow only on capex. Even though the AI-driven revenue is gradually increasing, there's a huge crunch on the free cash flow, and it is also lengthening the payback period. The easy cash-making machine days have gone, and at least temporarily. We have already seen that the stocks have shown bearish patterns when they have released unprecedented AI capex guidelines, and they have no visible monetization roadmaps for these projects. Investors right now highly demand a return on investment capital, and they want those to be visible on these guidelines. To stay ahead, the Magnificent Seven have to keep investing more and more to build their AI infrastructure and stay ahead, maintain their AI leadership. So therefore, this is a treadmill where if you stand still, others overtake you. As annual investments on capex and AI technology increases and has also started exceeding the cash flow, investors care far more for capital discipline, ROIC, and how these investments on AI products and infrastructure is actually benefiting the company through real profits. The Magnificent Seven still comprises of a very high share of the S&P 500. The earnings, the net income projections for 2025 and 26 for the 7 is in the higher teens, whereas for the rest of the S&P 500, it's in the lower teens. But the gap of these numbers have reduced gradually compared to the AI boom era. Analysts now talk less about the Magnificent Seven as an umbrella term as a whole, whereas it specifically talks about the winners such as Nvidia and Alphabet in sectors where the market sentiments have been reevaluated. Nvidia remains the hardware number one, producing more and more advanced GPUs, and Alphabet, as they're developing their AI products such as Gemini and Banana, etc., have also worked very much in the AI sector, AI infrastructure, and has been accordingly rewarded by the market too. Whereas the other 5 companies have been underperforming the S&P 500, there are concerns about device growth, EV cyclicity, and the near-term profitability of AI investments they are doing. Each name sits in a different place, owning a different sector. And though they have high growth perspectives, they are still not able to produce higher returns compared to the rest of the market. As doubts grow about big tech's AI ROI, capital has started flowing into companies that can benefit from second order effects and also have good investment into AI infrastructure. Chips and memories demand has resulted in companies like Micron and Western Digital to have extremely well earnings and profit margins. And this is because the demand for higher bandwidth memory, storage, and the connectivity of data centers to access AI has increased. The industrial, construction, and utility sector is benefiting from the increased number of power plants and adoption of AI in the workload system, also the increased number of data centers, and therefore traditional sectors are also benefiting from this upsurge. The outperformance of equal weightage S&P 500 and the other ETFs that do not include the Magnificent Seven evidently prove that AI upsurge is no more concentrated to benefit, no more benefiting only the seven logos, whereas it is helping all the other stocks grow. So India's data center capacity is currently 1.4 gigawatts and is expected to triple to almost 4 gigawatts by the end of 2030, supported by $45 billion of investment. With the strong digital adoption, engineering talent, and the government initiatives towards enabling AI, like the India AI mission, India is positioning itself to be a big beneficiary in the AI infrastructure build-on industry throughout the world. Lastly, focus on the broader theme of AI. Don't only limit yourself to the mega caps of US, which I have already repeated before. And if you resonate with the theme I spoke about today, please follow the channel, give your feedback in the content, and I am hoping that my friends now come on the back and please help me out with the subscribe. Thank you.